Buenas tardes, clase. Today we're going to end chapter 6 with the last grammar section, which is 6.4. And this has to do with demonstrative adjectives and pronouns. So please pay close attention to this video and do the two activities we will do afterward. So let's see what this PowerPoint says. It tells us that in Spanish, like English, demonstrative adjectives are words that demonstrate, right? So demonstrate or show or point out nouns. So demonstrative adjectives precede the nouns they modify, and like other Spanish adjectives that we've studied, they have to agree with gender and number. So we always think about the gender of the noun and the number of the noun with regard to these adjectives. So look at these examples. We see esta camisa. And also notice the pronunciation. We're not saying esta camisa. We're saying esta camisa. Ese vendedor. And here, of course, you have the English. Aquellos zapatos. All right, so there's three. This, that, and those over there. So here are the forms. They're really quite easy. So on the masculine over here for this, we say este. Feminine, esta. That, ese, esa. These are for the singular. And for that over there, aquel. If it's feminine, aquella. Or you have the English over here, right? And the plural, we say estos. So notice here it's estos. There is a change. You don't say estes. So this E goes to an O. Estos, estas. Esos, the same happens here. The E goes to an O. Esos, esas. Aquellos, aquellas. Good. So let's just repeat these really quick. So repeat after me. Este, esta, estos, estas. Ese, esa, esos, esas. Aquel, aquella, aquellos, aquellas. Muy bien. So there are three sets of demonstrative adjectives, like we just saw. To determine which one to use, you must establish the relationship between the speaker and the nouns being pointed out. So in other words, it has to do with your perspective, how close things are to you. Just like in English, if a cup is close to you, you'd say this cup. If it were further away, you'd say that cup. If it were really far away, like at the end of the room, you'd say that one over there, that cup over there. So here are we'll see some examples. The demonstrative adjectives este, esta, estos, and estas are used to point out things that are close to the speaker and the listener, right? Me gustan estos zapatos. So they're close to this guy, right? He's trying them on. So that's why he says estos zapatos. The demonstrative adjectives ese, esa, esos, and esas are used to point out things that are not close in space and time to the speaker, so they're a bit further away. They may, however, be close to the listener. Right, so look at the example here. She says, prefiero esos zapatos. So she's pointing out these shoes that are a bit further away. Those, right? And then finally, the demonstrative adjectives aquel, aquella, aquellos, and aquellas are used to point out things that are even further away from the speaker and the listener. So like when we would say over there in English, right? Aquel auto es de mi hermana. So it's further away. So demonstrative pronouns are identical to their corresponding demonstrative adjectives. So pronouns, again, is when the noun is not present, right? The only exception is they traditionally have an accent mark on the stressed vowel. But recently, the Real Academia, which is sort of the authority on Spanish rules, no longer requires the accent, but it's still often used. So you'll see it quite a bit here, right? So these are their exact same forms, the only difference being that the accent is over the E in all of the forms you can see, right? The first E, if you want to think of it that way. So it's still pronounced the same and everything else. You see este, esta, estos, estas, ese, esa, esos, esas, aquel, aquella, aquellos, aquellas. The only difference is in writing you often put that accent. And again, you use these when you're not mentioning the noun. So let's look at a few examples. So here the question says, ¿Quieres comprar este suéter? Here the sweater is here, so, right? So you notice that este is not accented. But then the person says, no quiero este, right? So it's like saying this one. Quiero ese, I want that one. So you're not saying ese suéter. So that's why these have accents. ¿Vas a leer estas revistas? Sí, voy a leer estas, right? So I'm going to read these. También voy a leer aquellas. I'm also going to read those ones over there. So like demonstrative adjectives, the pronouns also agree in gender and number with the corresponding noun. So again, if you're not going to mention the noun, the demonstrative adjective still has to agree. So look at these examples. Este libro es de Pablito. Estos son de Juana. So estos is referring to a group of books. All right, last slide. There are also three neutral demonstrative pronouns, which is esto, eso, and aquello. And these forms refer to unidentified or unspecified things, situations, ideas, and concepts. So it's when it's a little bit more abstract. Right? So friends, you can imagine if you saw something floating in the sky, right, and you didn't know what it is, you'd say, ¿Qué es eso? Right? What is that? So they do not change in gender or number, and they never carry an accent mark, right? So, ¿Qué es esto? What's this? Eso es interesante. Well, that's interesting, referring kind of to an entire concept, right? Aquello es bonito. That's pretty, whatever that is over there, right? So, for instance, ¿Qué es esto? If you imagine maybe you had never seen a cellular phone or something like that, and you're holding it in your hand, and you have no idea what it is, you say, ¿Qué es esto? Right? Because it's an unidentified or unspecified thing. All right, muy bien. So we're going to, I'll leave these up here as we do a few activities. Let me shrink this. And let's start with this one. No, yes. Yeah, this is a good one to start with. Alright, so we have this little activity here. Let's see, is there a way that I could have these both on the screen? That is the question. There we go. Alright, so this will be up top. And we'll have the activity here below. Excellent. Okay. So let's look at the instructions here. It says fill in the blank with the correct demonstrative adjectives or pronouns. So we have these guys. And here we just have to pick the right one, right? Because it tells us it gives us the options here. So Andrea says, this is a conversation. Cecilia, ¿te parece que blank blusa hace juego con mi falda? So pause it for a second, think about it. Alright, and we're back. And the question is, ¿te parece que esta o este blusa hace juego con mi falda? And of course the answer would be esta, because blusa is singular and feminine. So it would be esta. Cecilia, ¿por qué no llevas una de, so we would say esas o estas, que están ahí sobre la cama? Son más bonitas. Pause it. Alright, and we're back. So we're still talking about blusas, but now it's plural, because we say que están ahí sobre la cama, son más bonitas. So we know there's more than one blouse, so it would be esas, right? So it would be esas. So you can put in your accent mark here. Esas. Esas que están ahí sobre la, those ones. So this is a pronoun. That's why it has the accent. Because you notice that it doesn't, Cecilia is not saying blusa. Andrea contesta, tienes razón. ¿Y tú? ¿Y tú qué vas a usar? Cecilia responde, yo voy a llevar blank suéter con blank pantalones. So tenemos dos respuestas aquí. Okay, so pause it for a moment. And we're back. So yo voy a llevar este suéter, right? It couldn't be aquello because aquello is the abstract one, if you remember. Con aquellos pantalones, right? Because it couldn't be the one with the accent because the noun is mentioned, right? So it has to be aquellos. So those pants over there. Muy bien. Andrea dice, ¿sabes quién va a estar en la fiesta, verdad? Y dice, aquel ese muchacho que te gusta. So pause it for a sec. And we're back. So here it would have to be ese, because again, this aquel has an accent mark, yet the noun is present, muchacho. So that boy that you like. Ese muchacho que te gusta. And then finally, Cecilia responds, eso o estos es interesante. Pause it. And we're back. And it would be eso, right? Because remember, with the abstract thinking ones, it's always singular. So eso es interesante, right? Eso es interesante. Es is singular, so that's why it's eso. That's why it couldn't be estos. Muy bien. Ok, vamos a hacer una actividad más con esto. Y aquí está. Voy a dejar esto allí. Esperen un momentico. Voy a subir esto así. Así. Muy bien. Okay, so let's look at the instrucciones here. It tells us fill in the blanks with the indicated demonstrative adjective or pronoun. So careful here. So it's either the demonstrative adjective or pronoun. The pronouns are the same forms but with accents. Alright? So let's look at numero uno. It says, no me gusta esta falda. Prefiero blank. That one. Alright, so pause it for a sec. And we're back. So that one, we notice that it's not, the noun isn't there, so we have to use a pronoun. And then we're talking about a falda, and it's that one. So therefore it'd be esa, with an accent over the E. Prefiero esa, that one. Número dos. Voy a comprar blank pantalones verdes. Pause. And we're back. So here it would be what? Estos pantalones verdes. Right? Because this pantalones is masculine and it's plural, so it would be up here. These. You see it? Up here in the PowerPoint. These green pants. Tres. ¿Dónde compraste blank abrigo? We want to say that. Pause it. We're back. Here would be ese abrigo. Right? You see here it's singular. Abrigo is masculine. That. Cuatro. ¿Viste a blank chicas? Those over there. Pause. Welcome back. Viste a, so we want to say over there, so it's a group of girls, so we would say what? Aquellas chicas. Viste a aquellas chicas? Muy bien. Alright, see up on the PowerPoint, those over there. Cinco. Tú compras esa camisa y yo compro this one. Pause. And we're back. So this one, right, this is an pronoun, so we have to use the accent, and we're referring to camisa, and it's this one, so therefore it would be esta. Tú compras esa camisa y yo compro esta, this one. Bien. Número 6. ¿Cuáles prefieres? ¿Los zapatos marrones o those over there negros? Pause. And we're back. So notice those over there is a pronoun, because we're not saying those shoes over there. So we have to use the accent, and we're referring los zapatos, which is masculine and plural. So we'd say aquellos. Oops, and I'm sorry, the accent did not go on the A. That was my mistake. It goes on the E, of course. Aquellos. Right, so if we just go really quickly back to the PowerPoint, We see those here. See, the accent's always on the E, not on the A. Okay. Número 7. Carlos me compró aquel sombrero, pero prefiero usar this one. So again, we have a pronoun. So we have to use an accent on the E, like we just saw. And this one referring back to a sombrero, which is singular and masculine. So we would say este. Este. Bien. 8. ¿Cuánto cuesta blank camisa azul con rayas rojas? And we want to say this. Pause. And we're back. ¿Cuánto cuesta this? It's a camisa, right? So it's feminine and singular. So esta. ¿Cuánto cuesta esta camisa azul con rayas rojas? Muy bien. 9. ¿Vas a gastar dinero en those over there? Botas rojas. Pause. And we're back. So we're talking those over there, so it's far away, but the object is mentioned. So it's not a pronoun. So we would say, botas is feminine and plural. So we would say, aquellas botas rojas. Okay, last one. Ricardo, those calcetines no hacen juego. Ponte estos. So those, and the noun is present. Pause. And we're back, so it would be esos, of course, right? Because it's calcetines is masculine and plural. Ok, muy bien, clase, ahí tienen. Vamos a parar ahí. Buen trabajo. Y gracias por mirar.